The division series around Major League Baseball. What a duo we have, a pairing of them in the National League. Division series, divisional rivals in both of our sets. Of course, the New York Mets rallying in historic fashion last night in Milwaukee. They advance for a matchup against the Philadelphia Phillies in the division round that starts tomorrow around MLB. So let's start with the divisional odds for the NLDS between Philadelphia and New York. The Phil's a pretty hefty favorite at minus 188. Philadelphia has been great in the expanded postseason, which of course started during the 2022 campaign. They have played in the NLCS each of these past 2 years. Of course, they played in a World Series 2 years ago. But they were the wild card team where Red October got an early start in Philly. Now they have earned the rest. And Joe, as we reach the division round in the MLB postseason with the expanded playoff format, this is the time where you just asked before the break. 162 games in the regular season, the long marathon that it is in MLB. What does it matter? Here's where the conversation intensifies. Because if you are a wild card team, and we have seen, at least in the 3-6 matchups, divisional champs, wild card team needing it for the final 2 weeks, month of the regular season to get in. Those wild card teams, the Tigers over the Astros in 2 games in Houston. The Mets get the last laugh over Milwaukee. The wild card teams have been great so far in MLB postseason action.
Ben, it feels like it's rinse and repeat here. We talk about this every postseason, and then we forget what short memories we have. The same thing last year with Arizona. We got to this point, and we were laughing like, well, there's no way Arizona's going to run a table here. Like, I mean, come on. You got to be – I mean, congratulations. You got lucky out of a 3-game set, but there's no way. There's no way you're going to end up running the table and win the National – Well, I can make the same argument here for the New York Mets now against this Philadelphia team, can I? Who, by the way, Ben, Philadelphia in years past in their successful seasons usually did it the reverse way. They start slow and they finish playing their best baseball. I can make the argument Philadelphia played its best baseball early, and now I don't know what the hell you're going to get from them, which is worrisome. In the meantime, we have the Mets who are doing exactly what the Phillies did on their way to a World Series title over the last couple of years, Ben, which is play their best damn baseball, get all the breaks, everything rolling your way right now. Nothing on paper tells us the Mets should win this series when you look at the starting pitching rotations here. But guess what? You counting out the Mets now? Because I certainly can't.
No, I don't think you can, Joe. How could you? You should not at this stage. But to Joe's point, the Philadelphia Phillies, in the month following the All-Star break, toward the end of August, were 12-20 after losing the opener of a set on August 23rd against the Royals. Then they started to play much better baseball to kind of find their way to make sure they held off both the Braves and the Mets in the National League East, and of course even contend for one of those 2 byes into the division round that we see here. In terms of the comparison between these divisional foes, Philadelphia won 7 of 13 against the Mets this year, but when New York needed to win games, the second to last series, or the second to last weekend, I should say, of the MLB regular season against Philadelphia, the Mets took 3 of 4 against the Phils. It put them in position to enter the final week knowing they just needed to win a few games against Milwaukee in the extended doubleheader set against Atlanta to get into the playoffs. That's exactly what they did. Game 1 tomorrow night at the Bank. Red October intensifies in the city of brotherly love. We will see what the decision is for the Mets starter. We know it's going to be Zach Wheeler on the other side for the Phils. And much like the division series price, as you saw, minus 188, Joe, in favor of the Fightins, it's minus 188 to start game 1 as well.
And let me just say this, Ben, because this broke just a little while ago, that the Mets are considering activating Kodai Senga for the National League Division Series. And quite honestly, Ben, how in the hell do you not? I mean, when you look at, Peterson's coming in relief last night for the first time in his career. I mean, they are running a little bit thin on arms because of how they've had to get to this point. And wouldn't it be interesting if Senga somehow makes it on to this roster. I guess, hey, listen, all the available arms is possible at this point because it's only going to get harder from here.
Sure.
So that will be very interesting.
Of course, you can make those roster updates entering each round in the MLB postseason. Now, from one divisional rivalry in the DS to another divisional rivalry, an in-state rivalry, in Southern California rivalry between San Diego and Los Angeles. For the third time in the last 5 MLB seasons, the Dodgers and the Padres meet in the National League Division Series. Throughout the regular season, the Padres won 8 of 13, but the Dodgers won the final 2 to clinch the National League West for the 11th time in the last 12 years. In 2020, in the COVID-shortened season, the Dodgers won a World Series. They swept the Padres in the NLDS. In 2022, in the start of the expanded playoffs, San Diego, as the wild card team, they beat the Dodgers in 4 games in the division series. San Diego would play in the NLCS and come up a little bit short against Philadelphia. The Dodgers are a division series favorite at -134, as you would expect. But, Joe, it seems the number's a little bit tighter than maybe we would have anticipated about a month ago.
And as well it should be, because let's face it here. We talked about it last week, man. We'll keep talking about it. The starting rotation for the Dodgers is thin, and I mean very thin. They got a best-of-5 series, Ben. And from the way I see it, the National League teams have back-to-back games twice. The American League teams only go back-to-back once. The Padres have even without Musgrove, who got hurt in that last start, they still have a much better starting rotation and are in better shape than what the Dodgers are. So it's going to be very interesting how the starting pitching works out here for the Dodgers.
We'll continue to look at these sets in our third hour to set the stage for the weekend, but a change in starting pitcher for the Dodgers. Jack Flaherty listed as the opener for Game 1 yesterday. Now it's Yoshi Yamamoto making the start for LA against Dylan Cease. More on the early line next. Welcome to hour number 3 on a football Friday, but really a fall Friday, an October Friday, the first Friday in this month, which means playoff baseball continues. The wild card round now done after an exhilarating, historic, dramatic comeback in Milwaukee last night between the Mets and the Brewers. We set the stage for the division round, which starts tomorrow with all 4 sets and all 4 game 1s on a Saturday quadruple header. And then we continue our football Friday. We'll hear from the people which game is most exciting, which series is most exciting. Now in the DSs around MLB, college football on this Friday. And of course, our final half hour, Joe, it's our picks, our previews, our best bet, our pick 6 for week 5 of the NFL season.
Yeah, nothing like urgency in sports, and we'll have a lot of it starting tomorrow with Major League Baseball postseason. And listen, it's already week 6 in college football, week 5 in the NFL, so urgency is upon us here.
Urgency certainly is. It is win or go home. The Mets survived last night. Now to a best-of-5 set in all 4 of our division series that begin tomorrow. We took an early look at the National League. We'll continue with some of the excitement for the NLDSs that are division series between divisional rivals. It's the Phils and the Mets. It's the Dodgers and the Padres. Now let's look at the American League, where the division series is largely occupied by one division, the American League Central. All 3 teams that made it to October from the AL Central now on to the second round. But we start with the number 1 overall seed in the American League playoff bracket. It's the Yankees, greater than a $2 favorite, Joe, against the Kansas City Royals in this division series. The odds makers are telling us, as you see, 4.5 for the series total games and the under having the hefty juice. This should not be overly competitive. In fact, it might be a quick 3-game sweep. But I will tell you this, all of the pressure, all of the notoriety is on the pinstripes from the Bronx. The New York Yankees' last World Series championship was in 2009. In fact, the last time they won the American League pennant, That was also in 2009. The Yankees, Joe, have made the postseason 10 times since that last World Series title in 2009. They have not been back to the World Series. They have made the ALCS 5 times, but of course never claiming the pennant, which is always the ultimate goal. Will this year be different, and how does it get started in the DS against KC?
Kudos to the Royals for being here. I have no idea how that pitching staff, both the starters and the bullpen, actually held up as like they did against Baltimore. But I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that you scored 3 runs in 18 innings, and not for nothing, Ben, that is not going to get it done against the Yankees, especially in the Bronx, keeping in mind that the home road splits for Kansas City this year, night and day. Yeah. They were much better hitting team at home than they were on the road, and they've got to face Garrett Cole here, who obviously is in pretty good form heading into the postseason. Been there and done that, going up against Waka here tonight. This is all going to come down to, can the pitching staff of the Royals handle Judge and Soto? And you can't just handle one. You have to be able to handle both. And if you don't, you're not winning this series here. And I would not at all be shocked. This might very well go 4 games, Ben, but I don't see it going 5. I think the Yankees win this and advance here. And it's simply because the Yankees are the better hitting team, and they have 2 guys that you can't shut down simultaneously, and they are good enough to carry everybody else in the lineup, which is exactly what they did all year long.
Yeah, that's what they did. But Aaron Judge, despite history in 2022, the last time prior to right now, New York was in the postseason. Oh boy, was it a struggle at the dish. You see, minus 205 for game 1, minus 205 for the overall series. I will make this point, though, that stands out ever so slightly. Some changing odds, of course, for game number 1 tomorrow night in the Bronx. First pitch scheduled a little bit after 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. You saw the Royals in the series spread getting a game and a half. What that would mean for KC to cover and to cash that bet is to force a 5th game, or for Kansas City to win the series. But the most likely series correct score is the Yankees in 4, which is 3-1. They would cover the series spread at plus 270. So we see the Yanks as greater than a $2 favorite. In fact, this is the only of the 4 division sets that we have with a team greater than a $2 favorite to win the series outright. Just some of the oddities that we see in playoff series, which I think present great opportunity and value. Now, New York against Kansas City this year. They won 5 of 7 in the season series. The Yankees against the American League Central, 24-7, and they will have home field advantage in this series. They'll have home field advantage the entirety of the way throughout the American League pennant chase. 3 of the 4 division sets that we have are divisional rivalries, both in the National League and our second ALDS. The Cleveland Guardians, the champions of the American League Central, against the hottest team in baseball since the month of September got underway. That's the Detroit Tigers, sweeping Houston in Houston. The Gritty Tigers, their first playoff series win since 2013 to advance to the American League Division Series. And Joe, despite being the 6th seed, this actually has the closer of the 2 series prices in the American League. Only minus 130 in favor of Cleveland. The Tigers, the underdog, sure, at plus 108, but they were a much heftier underdog in their opening round set against the Astros. Just how competitive will this AL Central divisional rivalry be now in the ALDS?
I mean, listen, not 1, not 2, but 3 American League Central teams are vying here for a shot at an American League pennant and a World Series, which was just unthinkable, Ben. A little over a month ago was never, ever into consideration, and here we are. I am going to be fascinated with this one more than the others, Ben, simply because does the rust become a problem? Extended layoff, is that an issue in Major League Baseball? Because the Guardians, don't forget, out were rained out on the final day of the regular season. They didn't play.
True.
They will have not played in over a week by the time they get to the pitch on Saturday. And yet Detroit, here we go, Detroit just rolling right through here and continuing to play unbelievable baseball. So I think this is going to be a fascinating case of, hey, it's all great that you get the buy-in stuff, but there's a week layoff for a Guardians team that was 500 after the All-Star break at best. Is that a good thing going up against one of the hottest teams right now in Major League Baseball? Time will tell here, Ben. I think game one's going to go a long way into deciding who wins this series.
The Tigers are a heavier underdog, more of an underdog. The Guardians more of a favorite in game one than the overall series itself. Cleveland minus 146 tomorrow in the first of four games that we have just a little bit after 1 p.m. Eastern. Total is 7. It will be fascinating, Joe, to see what A.J. Hinch does with his starting staff.
Yep.
Tarek Skubal, sensational. Can he pitch a couple of times in this best of 5? If it goes the duration, you would think so. But we saw 7 pitchers used for Detroit to close out the short 2-game set in Houston. Tanner Bybee gets the start for the Guardians on the other side. I cannot wait for some October baseball to continue tomorrow. 4 games on a Saturday. We also have college football to preview. We'll do that in just a little bit. But before we get there, we got to hear from the people, Joe. Of all 4 of these division series, now into the second round of the MLB postseason, which one is the most compelling? Find out next and Fade the Public. Let's hear from the people, shall we? It is time to hear everybody's assessment on the 4 division series that we have that begin tomorrow on the first Saturday of October. On to the second round of the MLB postseason. 3 of the 4 division series between divisional rivals, both in the National League. Is there too much American League Central for our liking with all the pressure and the impetus on the New York Yankees? Does that make it the most exciting? Which of the 4 sets that we have now in the division round of the MLB postseason is most intriguing? That was the question for all of you in Fade the Public. Joe, I don't think it should be a shock to know how good the matchups are in the National League with very strong divisional ties and some heated intensity between both of the organizations facing off in both of those division series. That the NL kind of won this poll. At SportsGrid on Twitter, which MLB division series is the most intriguing? Mets, Phillies, Padres, Dodgers, Royals, Yankees, Tigers, Guardian. Nearly half of the Fade the Public poll back in the Padres and the Dodgers, followed, I guess, at least in second with nearly 27% on the Mets and the Phillies. The Tigers and the Guardians, third most. The Yankees and the Royals, fourth most. Which way did you vote, Joe Ranieri, in the Fade the Public poll?
Well, I think the Padres Dodgers certainly is what's going to move the needle here. And I think the public is on to something because many people believe that the winner of this series is your National League champion and in all likelihood going to be the favorite to win the whole thing here. So I do think that's the series that has the most juice. But again, I think there are 2 series here in which we've got teams that we all thought had no business being here, but yet here they are playing amazing baseball. Will the luck run out with the Tigers and the Mets? Those 2 series to me are way more fascinating than anything the Dodgers and the Padres are going to bring to the table.
Yeah, I think storyline, rivalry, how compelling it has been between the Dodgers and the Padres in the last half decade as this Southern California rivalry has really boomed, makes it the most exciting. But I agree, Joe. The Phillies and the Mets, no love lost between those 2 organizations. If it was the Phils and the Mets, perhaps in that doubleheader to end out the regular season, I don't think there would have been handshakes and celebrations on the field at either Citi Field or at the bank in Philadelphia. None of these 4 teams in the National League really care for each other, and you've got that divisional rivalry, of course, in the ALDS between Detroit and Cleveland. not a lot really there for the Yankees and the Royals, more so on New York. KC is here, a young club that has been great this season. But it's for the Yankees. It's the storyline of can they finally match the optimism and the expectation that is always surrounding this Pinstripes club each and every year, now with a golden opportunity. And as the odds makers would tell us, by far the most favorable path of any team to win a pennant and get to a World Series. Joe, you just said this point, and I think it's incredibly sound. There is a thought the Yankees are going to win the pennant. They are the short American League favorites at this moment. They have the best price now to win the World Series, moving in front of the Dodgers for the first time this year. There you see the pennant odds. It's plus 105. It was even money yesterday. I think there is a thought, though, Joe, that the team out of the National League will be so battle-tested through this gauntlet that they are probably going to be the favored side come a World Series matchup, either outright price, however that looks. Is that how you see it? Do you think the team that ends up winning the National League will be the World Series favorite and deservedly so?
I believe if it's the Dodgers, they will likely be a small favorite if it's the Yankees. If it's the Padres, I do think the Yankees, of course it's the Yankees representing, I think the Yankees will be the favorite against the Padres. I think the Dodgers will get the nod against the Yankees, and a lot of that's going to have to do with the fact that the public, in all likelihood, probably remembers when the Dodgers went to Yankee Stadium and beat the snot out of them. So, I do think the Yankees against anybody else other than the Dodgers is the favorite.
Yeah, I would agree, probably from the public perception of it all. I think the reason the Dodgers have moved off that favorite price is because of the matchup against San Diego. The Padres have been the best team in baseball since the All-Star break. The Dodgers actually better by a half a game in favor of San Diego, or in front of San Diego, since the beginning of August, the best American League team since the start of August. That's the Detroit Tigers. And not only will we have the divisional rivalries in 3 of the 4 DSs, we will also have the conversations between wildcard teams and the teams that earn the opening round bye. Can the Mets stay hot? Can the Tigers stay hot? Joe, the last time Detroit and Cleveland faced off, a 2-game short set to end out July, the Guardians won both. At that point, the Tigers were 52 and 57, 5 games below 500, almost indicative of what this second half and really the final 2 months of the season has been for Detroit, because as I just mentioned, they are the best team in the American League since the end of that 2-game set against Cleveland, since the beginning of August, 34-19 to end out the regular season. Of course, they won both here in the postseason. That now actually has the shortest series outright price. Some market movement on this Friday morning. The Guardians only minus 120 to win this set outright. The Dodgers now up to a minus 142 price against San Diego. We would expect some competitive baseball starting tomorrow with a quadruple header.
Absolutely. I mean, you look at all these series, Ben, and the question is, which one of them has the makings of an upset? Which one of those would you look at and say the dog's going to win outright? Is it the Padres? Is it the Mets? Is it the Tigers? I think the only one we're safe with is saying the Yankees in all likelihood are going to beat the Royals. Can we say that about anybody else? Any other favorite?
Yeah, I don't really think so. Again, KC here, as Joe mentioned, scoring 3 runs. The back end of the bullpen dominant. Frankly, all of the pitching staff for Matt Quatraro was incredibly good in that opening round set against the O's. First game up tomorrow, Guardians, Tigers. Phillies, Mets, Yankees, Royals, Dodgers, Padres to end it in that order.